The head told me on the very last day of term at the school barbecue that she was taking early retirement, and of course that came as a complete bombshell.
Our head teacher resigned at the beginning of the summer term 2005, due to leave at the end of the summer term. So we had a term in which to look at the appointment process and try and find somebody to replace her.
Learning that the head teacher is leaving can come as a blow to school governors, particularly if the announcement is unexpected. Finding a capable new head is going to become more and more difficult because of the looming crisis in head teacher recruitment. Nearly a quarter of all head teachers will be retiring in the next 5 years. In this film, we're looking at how governors at 2 schools found recruiting a new head surprisingly difficult and at the lessons they've learned as a result about the crucial importance of succession planning. Westfield Community Technology College in Watford was one of the first extended schools in the country. The Chair of Governors is Chris Miller and Paul Rosen is Vice Chair.
Westfield Community Technology College has grown over the last few years rapidly. We have a very large adult education centre and a children's centre, plus a preschool now, which we've just opened.
The previous head, Jan, has been the head teacher at Westfield for 10 years. Everyone expected Jan to be here for years and years, as you do, and all of a sudden we heard you were going to retire, and where do we go from here?
Doris Neville-Davis is Chair of Governors at Sayes Court Junior School in Surrey.
Sayes Court is a junior school with 5 classes at the moment. We are officially a 3-form entry school, but because there are far too many school places in the area, we're not full, and they are now reviewing what is to happen to 3 or 4 of the schools in the area, including us.
The appointment of a new head became more complicated when, shortly after the head resigned, Ofsted arrived and declared the school to have serious weaknesses. The school had 6 months to do something about it.
We knew that HMI would be coming in 6 months' time to judge the progress, and a lot of work had to be done. We felt that we would make best progress if we appointed the same person to carry through the whole of the 6 months' work. So we appointed somebody to the acting role from the middle of the summer term when the head left us.
A long-term vision for the school's future and a corresponding list of leadership skills required are at the heart of effective succession planning by governors.
After we stopped panicking as governors, as the governing body, and thought, hold on, we're going to have to move forward, we did take it as an opportunity to look forward and maybe reorganise things.
When we came to discuss, right, we're looking for a new head, are we looking for in the same mould as Jan?
And we said, look, we're not looking for another clone, we're looking for the best person for the job of taking the school forward. The one skill we wanted was someone who had some experience or knew about extended services.
I think we saw it as an ideal opportunity to be able to move the school forward because we knew it needed to be moved forward and it needed some serious work doing on it to get it back to where it had been.
Good succession planning involves identifying and nurturing possible leadership talent within the school. When it came to appointing an acting head, the governors at Sayes Court were aware that one of their senior leaders, Sue Morris, had real leadership potential, despite not having completed her NPQH, the National Professional Qualification for Headship.
I had been on leadership courses, often alongside the head or, as part of the leadership team, but not really focused in moving towards headship.
We recognised that the assistant head was doing an awful lot of work with the head teacher in terms of assessment and work in the background to move things forward where they needed to be moved forward.
The governors appointed Sue as acting head, and she successfully steered the school through the HMI visit.
She did an absolutely phenomenal job, so that when HMI came back, they said the school had not made satisfactory progress, but good progress, which was absolutely wonderful.
Over at Westfield Community Technology College, how did the governors manage the process of recruiting a new head?
Because we didn't have any outside help in putting it together, that's how we came up with, we approached the TES and just put this advert together.
And following the advert, we then did all the work in-house, which was a lot of work that we didn't expect, because putting the pack together for a prospective new head is actually quite a difficult thing to do. By the time you've got the job description agreed by the governors and the person's spec agreed, then you've got to put a pack together about the school.
And of course we didn't realise how much paperwork was involved, and it was just so overpowering.
At the end of the day, out of the 3 that we shortlisted, none of them were actually suitable to be appointed. So we put a lot of work in, and at the end of the day, we didn't appoint. But it was important to us as governors, and we said right the way from the beginning, we weren't going to appoint just for the sake of appointing. It has to be the right person for the job.
In fact, 25% of primary and secondary schools currently fail to appoint a head first time round. This means it's essential for governors to have a contingency plan.
We did have 2 senior deputy heads in the school that we considered as governors would be quite capable of running the school as an acting head teacher. So yes, we did have a fallback position. So when we didn't appoint after the first interview, we knew at least the school would be looked after by the senior deputy heads that we had here.
3 months later, the governors advertised again.
The first time we went with a standard black and white advert, which we probably didn't feel got to the right audience. So we then went to the second one in colour and changed the title to principal instead of head teacher. We thought that might attract some different candidates.
Again, we went through the interview process. We didn't appoint anyone, and we managed to ask our senior deputy head to take the post. She then took the post on a substantive basis for a year.
At Sayes Court, Sue's acting headship continued for 18 months. When the governors were able to appoint a substantive head, they found it wasn't completely straightforward.
We knew that the acting head teacher would apply for the job, or we hoped she would anyway, because she'd done such a good job. But we had to be very, very careful that the whole process was done exactly according to the book. And in drawing up an advert, we had to attract applicants, but at the same time, we had to be honest about the situation the school was in. We were going to face another Ofsted inspection fairly soon. The area was under review as far as school places were concerned, and there was even a possibility that this school could close.
The school received just 4 applications. Because Sue was an internal candidate, the governors had to rethink the interview day.
We got a video of a lesson, and the candidates assessed the lesson from the point of view of a head teacher. And that was a very objective way of going about it, and we ended up knowing we had a head who could do it extremely well.
After the second attempt, when we thought like most governors think, you've gone twice and you start, panicking is too strong a word, but we started worrying that we would never find the right person. We considered going to recruitment consultant because the rule book allows us to go and headhunt if we haven't managed to appoint after 2 occasions. So we looked at going to recruitment consultants, and then we got various prices quoted at us. The minimum quote was 15,000 and it went up to 40,000. We thought we could employ a teacher for that.
The governors instead approached the local authority for help.
They helped us along the way into producing another advert, and also we changed the title again to Director of School and Extended Services. So we wanted to get applicants who knew a little bit more about extended services, because we felt we hadn't had that in the previous 2 rounds.
This time the county put together for us a CD, so we went high tech. The CD having all the information on that we before had put together and photocopied and sent out, and the work that went with it. That went out to all candidates, and I'm sure that helped. It made it a much more professional job.
And at their 3rd attempt, the governors successfully appointed a new head. What lessons have they learned?
Being my first time, I thought, well, all right, we'll find a head teacher. But it certainly opened my eyes and thinking, well, no, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
And the other thing it's brought to the governing body's view is that we've got to get involved in succession planning. And what we can't allow to do is the school to be put in the same position in maybe 5 or 8 years' time.
And the governors have already started, inviting Carol Kennelly, head of the governance unit at Hertfordshire County Council, to give a presentation about succession planning.
60% of head teachers at the moment in Hertfordshire are over 50 and 26% are over 55. So we really are concerned about the fact that we won't have enough leaders to lead our schools in the very near future. We're glad that you've probably tied this in with your performance management training, and you've been looking at the fact that your continued professional development within the school gives you that chance to look at what the middle leaders and your senior leadership team, what type of training and professional development they need to in fact take them forward.
You know, I'm doing the MPQH and there's certain bits that go along with that. Working on the personnel committee of the governors, that gets me certain bits of experience there.
Chris and Paul have already initiated meetings with members of the senior leadership team to discuss their training and their future.
And in terms of the people who line manage, how are we doing in terms of making sure their professional development is kept up to scratch?
I think beneath where I am, there are a number of people pushing up. We've, you know, the introduction of the associate SLT, so that sort of extra line of management has given a few people the chance to move forwards.
At Sayes Court, Sue Morris was appointed head teacher. With succession planning now firmly on the governor's agenda at the school, she's working with the deputy head on areas like finance, where the deputy feels she needs to increase her knowledge.
This is quite interesting because what confuses me about finance is obviously financial year end and school year end are different, and it's fitting that in, making sure that the two fit together.
That's right, and so we have to be aware of the expenditure that the school is going to incur over that year.
This is the time of year when we're looking at setting the new budget, so now that I can get involved in meetings with Sue and with our finance officer and with the Governor's Finance Committee as well, so that I can develop my understanding in preparation for headship.
Everyone's got to move up. It's no good just looking at our deputy head and saying, are you ready to move on to headship? We need to be going down the line for people and accelerating the process, because there are going to be fewer people available out there in a few years ahead.
Obviously, I think one of your concerns might be that you're putting in all this effort into your school to train leaders who in fact may well move on and become leaders in other schools. But I think we've got to start thinking a sort of slightly bigger picture, and it's about creating a talent pool. And what we're really working for is sort of social capital, the greater good.
The next stage in the process from our point of view will be for us as a school to be looking at where we can go out from the school to provide leadership opportunities for our staff, to give them a wider experience than we can in a small school here.
Governors are discussing whether this might happen via the Confederation of Local Schools, which Sayes Court Junior belongs to.
Do you think there'll be any scope within the Confederation for either short-term exchanges of teachers or even secondments?
There are strong links between schools, and there have been shared training experiences and staff working alongside other staff in schools or working with them. So that has already started.
It's developing that breadth of experience and giving people those opportunities. To experience things beyond the day-to-day of the classroom.
Now we know that we're facing a potential crisis between 2009 and 2011 with so many heads reaching retirement age. We've got to plan ahead, which we didn't do then.
Now we are pushing as a governing body to get involved in succession planning. We will hopefully encourage the school to help all the staff in their professional development and build head teachers of the future.